Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody who's literally been following me on this journey. When I say content creation and being a content creator, it's not easy. You got to take some mental days to prepare. First of all, just having the courage to get up here to tell your story is a lot itself. So, like I said, for the people who's been following me, just to take time out their day to watch, support, comment, reshare, subscribe, repost, like it means so much to me because for a very long time, I knew that I had a story to tell. And when I tell my story to people, people be like, why you don't talk about this? And I'm very private to a certain extent, so I was always nervous and really didn't have the courage to sit here and tell y'all about, you know, the big things that were already broadcasted in my life, but the details within it. So like a lot of people knew I lost my mom, but I would never have conversations with people, you know, explaining how I felt losing my mom at 17 and um going through the different emotions and grief and the financial hardship behind that my family experienced, and then a few deaths that were home hitters for me, and just like being able to like vocalize it, you have to have the courage. So again, when I say I'm very appreciative. Like, I don't got it all together, but I'm trying to show up for y'all in every form that I can, the best way that I can. I'm being authentically me. I know there's gonna be some days where I have one video do better than the other, and I feel like, well, dang, I took more time editing on this, or I did more of this because this is what I thought the viewers would want. But for real, I'm not here for what you guys want. I'm here to tell my story because this is now a form of healing for me. This is therapy for me. So I want to thank y'all, and it's from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are very much appreciated. So today's episode, I believe we are on episode 6. No, we're on episode 5, guys. Let me just make sure that you see, like, I don't even have the things together. But I do believe that this is episode 5, either near here or there. I want to start off with uh yeah, this is episode 6 actually. So yeah, I just had to check back on my YouTube. This is actually episode 6. So today I want to talk about starting over in Houston. I have had so many people DM me to let me know, like, hey, keep doing what you're doing because you have motivated me. And I feel stuck where I'm at, and just looking at, talking about how you feel good in a new place is so motivational for me. Like, people are asking me what areas to move to, and I don't have all the answers because I don't have it all figured out. It has officially, well, not yet. On October 12th, it will be a full 4 months that I have been here. I moved to Houston June 12th. um and yes, so starting over in a new city, right? It was personal for me because starting over at 34 is scary. It's exciting. You're filled with a rush of, I got this, and let me let let me take all my challenges with faith. So for me, starting over at 34, and especially into a city that I know nothing about, not nothing, because I have visited several times, you know, day trips, weekend trips. I know that it was in God's calling that when I thought about relocating, it was either Atlanta or Houston. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Atlanta, but when I went there, it just did not feel like home. My spirit was not attracted to it to where this was a place for me to heal and grow and start over. But every time I came to Houston, it felt like home. It was like, okay, this is for you. And before I moved here, guys, I've been talking about this for like maybe 2 to 3 years. So it sat heavy on my heart before I even decided to pull a trigger on it. But yes, um, so in terms of me moving, and I say because like I transitioned from moving from the Bronx to New Jersey, but right, I drive, and I was blessed that I was able to travel the distance back and forth every day for work, and also that I was able to have that commute because I had a vehicle. I didn't have to do public transportation, so it made it easier for me to transition from moving from the Bronx to New Jersey. Now that was just the beginning portion of me starting to heal then, because I was like, okay, I gotta get out of the like between the five boroughs. Like I've never lived in Queens. I've never lived, well, I can't say I never lived in Brooklyn because according to my family, when I was really, really young, maybe like 1 or 2 years old, we lived in Brooklyn. Um, when my mom had got out the shelter, that's where they played. Her first apartment was in Brooklyn. And then she requested a transfer, and that's how we wound up in the Bronx. Alongside my grandmother. My grandmother always lived in the Bronx. So um from moving from the Bronx to Jersey, that was the start. Like, I didn't realize that that was the start of my healing journey then, but I just knew that the feeling of being overwhelmed with the anxiety of pressure and the anxiety of aggressiveness that the boroughs hold, I was like, I don't want to be a part of this community anymore. Like when I was younger, throughout my teenage years and my early 20s, it was certain things that used to excite me. Like I was in a space to where, like, if you was mean mugging me, I was on that with you. Yes, I dare you to say something, because I'ma flip you every which way but loose, right? And I felt like that was me because of the environment that I was in. So me being in this environment made me aggressive. But now I am going through things in my life, and I am maturing, and I am growing into this older woman from being a younger woman, and it's just certain things did not sit right with me. It did not settle with me. It did not work for me anymore. And I'm just like, okay. When I was granted the opportunity to say, hey, it's not far, but it's far enough. And when I say I knew it was far enough, because, I always heard growing up, like, if they don't come see you now, they're not going to come see you when you move. I didn't believe that until I got across the water. And it wasn't due to, I want to say, people not having means of transportation, because if you want something, you're going to go get it. If you want to do it, you're going to make it happen, right? And at this time, out of my friends, I was so hyped to drive because this was now a new thing in my life. I got a car. I'm learning how to drive. I'm like, okay, boom. let me just, we got girls night. Let me pick you up. Let me do these. But, and, you started to see your environment change. Like the people, your surroundings are changing. And I didn't realize that at that time, it changing was very much necessary for me. I needed that time away because when I was in the Bronx, my house was the chill house. We was partying, we was hookering, we was blasting music. Everybody knows, you come to my house, you getting a meal and you getting a drink, and we gonna chill, we gonna chop it up. Sun up to sundown. I really didn't care. Y'all can stay in my house as long as I make it to work, right? So once I transitioned from moving from the Bronx to New Jersey, and I started to see the difference, because I have always had God in my life, but around this time, I want to say like right before COVID hit, I was praying a little bit harder than normal, and I was praying for peace. And I didn't realize that me transitioning from the Bronx to Jersey was bringing me so much peace because I was now not surrounded around aggressiveness. I was not now surrounded, like I had a chance to detox my mind, detox my feelings, detox my emotions, detox my body. All of the things that I was asking for in prayer was coming a little bit faster than I expected it. And sometimes, when you pray for things, you may never know how it may show up, right? Because even throughout my transition from moving from New York to New Jersey, I really honestly didn't even not even feel like I didn't put two to two together that when I was praying for these things, you know, I was so small minded. I stayed within the circle. Like, I'm praying, like, okay, give me a transfer out these projects, maybe to another borough that I didn't know. Maybe like, because Bronx and Harlem is all that I knew. Um, so when I'm praying for this, I'm thinking like, okay, maybe this situation is gonna happen this way so that I can get an emergency transfer, or just thinking. I wasn't thinking big at the time. So like I said, when I was granted the opportunity to move to Jersey, I took it to the first thing smoking. I'm like, oh, I got a car, it's over. Like, once I moved to Jersey, I started this, my life started to transition into what I was asking God for, the peace. Like, I'm not going out every weekend. I'm not smoking hookah every weekend. I'm not listening to like, not saying like, I was never really a real aggressive music person as far as like the drill music and everything. Like, I have nieces and nephews that is way younger than me, so it might be a popular song at then I might bop my head to it, but I was very heavily into my a lot of things stopped. I wasn't drinking as much. Like, I started to feel good. I started to have this burst of energy and more clarity than anything. And I'm like, okay, this this is what's meant for me. So from the time, like a little bit right before COVID, I want to say I moved to Jersey in like 2019, 2019. So from 2019 to 2025, I've been in Jersey. And that whole experience living there has just enlightened me that certain things don't need to be a part of your life to make you fun, or certain things don't need to be a part of your life to make you lit. And once I learned that I could be away from the party life or the outside everyday life, it was times that I used to crave like going outside. Like, I felt like I was missing something. Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, and then when I would get outside, I would feel so bored. Like, I just wasted $1,000. I just spent $1,500 doing this. Like, That was not fun. I could have invested. That was a stupid move. I could have invested that money into my business at the time when I had, started my lashes. I could have got some more professional help as far as, being an entrepreneur trying to figure it out. And then, like, eventually, because I wasn't in the right mind state, and I didn't have the right tools around me, and I was just doing a lot of stupid, making a lot of stupid decisions that eventually, my business fell short and I couldn't support it anymore. And I was just like, I'm gonna try this again. This may not be for me, but I'm gonna try it again, because to not try is to fail automatically. And I have never been a person that has not never tried something to say that I've gained that experience. Like, I gave myself a chance. I betted on myself. It didn't work for me. This is not for me. But once I was able to, evaluate me living in Jersey and just evaluating the two total lives, it separated a lot. It separated relationships, it separated um trauma, it separated healing, it separated me from a lot, because now I'm in a better space. And no, it's not extra far, but I was in a better space. I was in a better space than I was when I was in the Bronx. So this was just the beginning of my healing journey, and I didn't even know it. God gives us things we ask for, um, unexpectedly, and unexpectedly, I did not, it was never in my mind. Jersey was foreign to me. Like, every time I got in a car with somebody, and the most I did was go to Walmart when it was time to go shopping. But Jersey was foreign to me, like, especially when I didn't drive. It was like, that's too far. I'm not doing that. Like, I didn't set my limit for the sky. I set my limit right where I could see it. And I was glad that I opened myself up to even trying to gain a different experience. So now, fast forward, it's 2023, and I'm thinking about it. I go to Houston and I'm like, man, this stuff feels too real. Excuse my language. And I'm trying to stop cursing too, guys. So, yes, this stuff feels so real, and I'm like, why every time come here, I feel like it's home. And then I visited Atlanta a few times, but every time I'm like, I could make it in Atlanta. I could do this. I could do that. My vision was so wide that I was like, yeah, I could make it in Atlanta. But every time I came to Houston, it was like, this is where home is. So I started to pray on it, and I started to ask God, like, God, is this where you want me to go? I don't know if this is my purpose, or what is my mission to come here and do for you, because it's on my heart, it's in my heart, it's in my body, it's in my soul. Like, I didn't care who, like, not I didn't care who felt some type of way that I was moving this far away. This was my decision, and then it needed to be done for me. So, was it terrifying? Yes, right? Because when I left New York and New Jersey, I left behind familiarity, right? What I'm familiar with. I left friendships. Not saying that I don't speak to my friends every day or when we can, because we all have our lives, but I'm actually leaving my friends behind where we can link up, or we can go do a little Starbucks date. I'm leaving these things, right? Because now I'm coming to a city and I have nobody out here to absolutely pick up the phone with and be like, oh, come on, come with me to Walmart, or come with me to Target. Like, it didn't happen for me that way. So now that I'm leaving behind familiarity, friendships, and overall just the life I had known for years, I was terrified. Like, but I always kept my faith. My faith kept me going. When I say that night that I knew that I had to drive here, I was like, okay, I really didn't sleep. I did the whole 24-hour drive with no problem. Stayed up. Me and my dog, we stayed up. And I didn't come here with an apartment. My little brother stayed out here. I was like, hey, this is what I need from you, XYZ. His doors was open. This is the plan. I execute. My plan was to stay with my brother for like 90 days, right? So that I can go ahead, get a job, and go ahead and find an apartment. When I say my faith and prayer and God don't play about me, I was here for 40. So from June, I got here June 12th or June 13th. I got here. By July 14th, I was signing my lease. By July 7th, I already had signed my offer letter for work. And I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be new for me. I'm working from home. I ain't gotta spend no gas money. I ain't gotta do nothing. All I gotta do is get up, get out my bed, and get on the computer, show up for training for 4 weeks, and I don't have to have no camera on. Oh, this is lit." I was excited. I was like, you know, God seen that I was putting in so much work in a field that I was previously in, and I kept praying for a easier workload because the I was dealing with people with disabilities, intellectual disability at that. So, having to care for someone who can't care for themselves, I'm doing requesting money. I'm in tune with families. Like I'm actually a manager of two group homes. I'm going from one to one. So it was just a lot to deal with. It was heavy. It was times that I wasn't able to vent about certain things because of the privacy of things. So, a lot of times I would come home with my workload and it started, to become heavy in my house and in my household. And I was just like, I can't really do this no more. Um, but I came here, I executed in less than 90 days, and it's been going good for me. Has there been days I felt homesick, scared, and anxious? Of course. But I also knew for me that this transition was necessary. It was necessary because it's for my growth and my healing. Like, my intentions coming out here was to stay dedicated to me healing. That was my whole, you know, I that was my whole point of coming out here because I wanted to get away from everything. Like, not that I was running, but I just knew that I needed a fresh start, and sometimes you just need that fresh start. No one around you, nobody to judge you. No, like, and God placed me here. That's all I can say. Like, I can't even explain to y'all how I got here and what was the calling for me to be here, but I feel like this is my new new surroundings of where my purpose is. And like, one of my most proud moments was actually falling through with it because it's hard to make an executive life decision at 34 years old to transition from something that you always knew to something that you don't know at all, right? And it's a mess when you make that decision because your emotions are all over the place and you start running into challenges. But each day, as long as you get up with pure intentions, you know, and purpose, it's going to work out for you. So I'm now allowing myself to pause. Like, when I feel like I need to grieve, and grieving shows up different for everybody, but right, because it's very personal. It's very personal when you grieve. And I'm just learning at 34 years old how to grieve because so many deaths that happened to me back to back has traumatized me to the point that where death when death happens around me now, I'm so numb to the point where it's like I'm used to this, and that's not something you should ever get used to, right? But now I'm knowing how to identify my emotions. So what I'm doing now is like I allow myself to pause. Like when grief or anxiety starts to surface, I have to acknowledge my feelings before anything. And once I acknowledge my feelings and how I feel, whether I get up to journal, whether I get up to drink a cup of coffee, whether I get up to go sit on my balcony, whether I go take a walk on a treadmill, once I acknowledge my emotions, now I'm putting a plan. How am I going to deal with this? And once I put that plan into play, I'm forcing myself to show up for myself in a way where I'm allowing myself to authentically be me, but also set boundaries and routines with me going through this process. Because before, I didn't set no foundation. And like I said, there's no rules to grieving, there's no rules to healing. But I feel that when I set a foundation for me and I set myself up for success, it gives me a better feeling. But this is what works for me. Before, when I didn't identify my feelings, I was kind of all over the place. I was cursing people out because I wasn't able to identify what I was feeling or speaking about it. Not like, being able to verbally say some things out loud has even like made me grow in so many ways to where I didn't even understand like speaking on things is a form of healing. So it this is really personal for me. Like I said, starting over, leaving familiarity, friendships, and just overall my life that I've been in the same state for 34 years. It is scary. But I also know that moving forward, the feeling that I feel now, this is what I wanted. This is what I was craving. This is what I was asking for. Um, so I do want to say I'm wrapping it up with you guys. Um, I am gonna touch back. I am gonna spin a block on this. I do want to give y'all some encouraging words because new beginnings are challenging, but transformative. Also, small acts of self love builds confidence and resilience. And I want you guys to take these two uh, key takeaways and I want y'all to do some homework. I want y'all to get a journal. I want y'all to write down and I want y'all to start identifying y'all emotions. And I want y'all to start doing things, small acts of self love. If that means doing a skincare routine every day, make that a small act of love to show that you care about yourself. Show that you're showing up for yourself. I want to thank everybody again. Like I said, I'm very appreciative. And like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week with another video. Later.